So feel free to use the chat area. We have the chat area, of course. I'm sure most of us by now, even if you haven't been using Zoom, I'm sure this is your almost our daily means. Zoom has been my close associate for the past 3 years. Also, so today I just thought it would be nice to take like about an hour, share with us all the vision of what we plan for Asne 2020 post COVID, and then how we intend to reshape it, but still maximize the fact that people are at home. So we don't want to, I've been trying to speak with a lot of our companies have actually committed for the year and paid, but some people are still relaxing. And so I thought it was a chance to speak with us. And then Rotimi would talk with us a bit more. Rotimi is our main project manager for the Asne 2020 project this year. And so he'll be speaking with us also so that we can, at the end of this, we want to make sure that we come out with some lively, discussions and some great ideas. We will try and be fast so that we give room for discussions and ideas, okay? So I have this slide. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It just gives me a guideline of where to go, okay? So my name is Emma Mopashi. I am the convener of the Annual School Needs Expo, and I'm the CEO of the School Resource Center. And the School Resource Center is based in Abuja. All right. This was just the original. So we'd already created our 10th anniversary logo for Asne, and our dates this year are originally scheduled for May 25th to the 30th. That's to have the physical event where we are hosting Asne. So this was just for us while we're waiting. So this is what I said, just want to create an atmosphere where we can talk. I want to hear what you're all going through, what you're putting together, what you've been able to work on. I've tried to contact some of us directly, as I said, to encourage you to think of programs we can do, how we can promote your services, as opposed to waiting for when things try to come back to normal, which we know that they're not going to be the same. All right, so I think it's important for us to put ourselves out there. General overview. So some of us know me and some of us don't. Some of us have my profile and you can always check it up. So that's just that, which happened to be on the slide already. So this year is our 10th year, and we had great plans, as I said, to celebrate it in a big way, involve as many segments of education as possible, which we still intend to do. At the end of this, we'll come up with possible date suggestions, which we'll take into consideration. So this was just, bits and pieces from last year and the years before, and this is what the venue tends to look like. So what Asne generally is, I'm saying this because some people have their company representatives here also. So Asne is a convergence, it's a place where we come together. That's why we have so many mixed things. We have conferences going on, there's seminars, there are exhibitors, there are companies who are not coming there to sell. They're just coming to showcase their products, okay? We have a lot of media people. People in the media are there at Asne. So we still want to make sure that we're able to give that kind of value. This was our plan before, as we said. So the whole 6 days, 3 days of, the first day would have been the media coverage, which we're still probably going to try and work with, especially those of our committed exhibitors. We're going to still get you to do recordings that we're going to also have on radio stations, and then we'll do a lot of live sessions. But I'm going to make Rotimi the co-host very soon, and he's going to talk about some of these things. And then, so that you can have an idea of what we can still be doing here. I don't feel that we should, I've gone through many phases of this crisis, from being like alarmed, smoke coming out of my ears, to now thinking in a very creative space where I realize there's actually a lot that we can do. Some people are actually cashing in on this right now. And some people have joined everybody else and they're like, I beg, there's no money, we can't do this, okay? So it's a time for us to be creative and think of how we could take things further. So this was what the original plan was. They said we wanted to do like the whole media press briefing and all that. At the moment, I'm still here in the UK. And of course, I've already canceled flights for the flights that would have been had from May. They've all been canceled anyway. So there'll probably be a backlog of flights. But one of the things we wanted to do, we're going to have some TV sessions here already in preparation for Asne. And we're going to be mentioning some of the companies who are also there. So we might end up doing recordings in the next few weeks and then have them posted on the TVs there. Okay, so this was what the original plan was, and we still intend to get a bit of this by engaging students, engaging schools. This was going to be a competition for students, so we feel we can still do a challenge also online, and then the event itself, the exhibition event itself would have been Thursday 28th, 29th, and 30th, with loads of ongoing sessions and seminars. Okay, so this was our plan for Asne 2020 is that pre or post? Pre, before COVID, all right? So that's the plan. I want to hand over to Rotimi Ayitayo, so he will introduce himself. I didn't have his profile here on time. Mr. Aderogba is here. Thank you for being here too, Aderogba. So I have some really hot people here on this panel. I'm really honored to have so many of you here. And thank you all for being so professional and muting yourselves without me having to mute yourselves. So many times I do webinars now, I always start the session by saying, please don't come naked. Because I've seen the most horrible videos where people have come in and someone forgot their phone on and they were in the toilet, and then, so really horrendous things. So a lot of things are happening in the world. So thank you. That means you guys are really high level, okay? So I'm introducing to you now Rotimi Ayitayo. I'm going to make him a co-host so that he can take over the session and talk a bit more about some of the things. I just want to get us thinking, and then we'll open up the floor where we can all share our insights. And then if anybody has any programs, and even if you don't, I'm going to make you have programs, because I don't see why we shouldn't be selling some of the things that you have. Some of you, you know that already, you know yourselves and you're here. I had to call you and say, what are you doing? Some of you are techie companies. I haven't seen anything that you're doing right now. So I've had to harass some of you personally, to maximize this time, because people are all ears. People are all ears and all eyes at the moment, since we're not going up and down. All right. So please join me and welcome Rotimi. Rotimi, do you have a slide to share? You want to share a slide? No?
No slide.
Okay, so I'm just going to make you co-host then. You want to be the host?
No.
Okay, so I'm making him the co-host here now. So Rotimi is here, and I'm going to minimize this slide, or just have it in the background. So Rotimi, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rotimi Ayitayo, and I work with an organization called Team Masters. So enough about me. I think one of the things that I'm just to do justice to is to kind of share and take a step further from the Asne experience that we just saw on the slides from Basically, one of the things that I would like to bring our minds to is the fact that, yeah, it's 10 years this year, and the structure design for the program for the 10th anniversary or 10th edition is basically more or less to ensure that we still have the same thing. The only difference is what would have naturally become a setback is now actually becoming a pattern. So we're looking at the possibility of having that kind of infusion where the dates matter to the organization. That's one. And so the timeline might change in terms of the life experience, but in terms of conceptual framework, we're still looking at the possibility of that 25th of May to the end of May. It can still become like almost like saying what would have happened for the World Press Conference can actually now happen, where we've been having before now embedded into the program plan what we call Asne Live. And Asne Live basically is a periodic engagement with would-be prospects and participants for the exhibition and conference to have an opportunity where they get to ask questions or have like a feel of what's going to happen, more like showcasing the highlights, showcasing the participants, and more or less giving people a preview, because most times we've noticed that a lot of people do not have so much as to understand why they're going to be part of a particular event. And so they wait till the last minute buzz. And if we're not careful, you might have prepared so much for a great participation, and then you have so little. And most times it's tied to the kind of messaging. So we decided to ensure that the messaging seems to be much more engaging and revealing. But then now that there's the COVID-19 experience, so what we are looking at, and probably hopefully we're able to either add or subtract from it, is to keep the fact that it's the 10th anniversary and we want to be as inclusive as possible. And so in trying to be inclusive, we will not change the duration as in terms of program plan, but now we cannot accommodate a lot more. So the week that we're having, that we had for the dates initially, we're proposing that we now have more robust Asne Life, where the dates are not totally shoved aside, but then we can now have a proper preview, number one, when we plan to have it. So if we're looking at sometime later in the year, if that is feasible, we can announce to the world, because the truth about it is that events like this, and for people like us, we are caught in between consistency and courage. So yes, it's COVID-19, but the truth about it is life has to go on, and life will go on post-COVID-19. And the better approach to it will be to start getting our minds and our psyche ready to communicate the things we are actually planning to do after COVID-19. So it's not rude, neither is it impossible to say, for example, that, well, we were meant to have a conference and an exhibition for the 25th of May to 30th of May or thereabout. And then we can say now, because of what's happened, we are set and we're ready to move the date to sometime later in the year, say October 2020. And people have been marketing events, even during COVID-19. We've had webinars paid for free. We've had coaching programs, coaching calls, and it's some level of marketing, as it were, for people to come on board. So Asne should not be different. And then we believe that the target might also change. So if our timeline would change a little bit, we might also change our target. So following what was saying, I think that we need to now get a little bit more targeted. It's an Annual School Needs Expo. And truth be told, the schools in Nigeria and Africa really will be needing a lot starting from this year. The needs are flipped. The needs have, the needs have kind of, gone from the regular of what you would have said. So our focus would be to have enough opportunity for the schools, both public and private, to be able to benefit from it. And so our content for Asne will still remain the same, just that we might have a lot more hands-on, a lot more demonstration, and probably, depending on how we push the message out there, I foresee the possibility of a lot of people trying to be part of it. Number one, we are privileged to know that Asne is, if by what we are working with and there's no change, Asne is still likely going to be the biggest education event for the year. And whether it's biggest because it's online or biggest because it's real-time FaceTime conference, we need to take advantage of that for those who are exhibitors, for those who are facilitators, for those who are companies who are actually part of stakeholders with the value chain of education. So we need to get to raise the level of commitment from here. And then we must demonstrate not just a change of date, but we must demonstrate a change in messaging. So before now, we might have not been able to position ourselves as being sure of what we want to do, or as being specific and emphatic. And one of the ways to be specific and emphatic is to get buy-in from people on this session to understand that, look, this is pretty much almost the best time to say, let's plug our dates, let's harmonize our calendars. If we're deciding that it's going to be, for example, October, towards the end of the year, let's find a way of harmonizing our calendars. Let's find a way of plugging in our commitments. And so if from Asne, from myself, from Jesse, from Aderogba, from a lot of people, by the time we come together and say, you know what, at least we are hopeful that we're looking forward to one event that will unify the space together and in the name of Asne, so people can begin to get prepared to be a part of it, get prepared to commit to it.
Okay.
And commitment in terms of registration, commitment in terms of booking stands. And the benefit about it is that the exhibitors and people who have something to showcase in terms of product or services can actually have a long timeline. So it's almost like saying the road to Asne. So from the Asne Live, which is the existing dates that we have, we can now redo our work plan. So before now, we had a work plan of 12 weeks. That was when we met in January, and then we started talking about it. And so we can now rework our work plan to show that, okay, the roadmap starts from the 25th, which would have been the flag off, but the roadmap to Asne, let's say, for example, is October. So what it simply means is we have June, we have July, we have August, we have September, and October. So we have 4 to 5 months. And that simply means that we're able to tell people that, you guys, this is what's going to happen. We have over 90 days to prepare for this. And hopefully it will address any questions before that time. We can profile companies and products, and people who are not yet done with product development can also work towards that. So one last thing that we can also have is being able to predictably profile the needs and also the market space, because at the end of the day, if we can use this pre-Asne now, when talking about a new date, to get feelers, we can get data so that our content is not built on assumption, and our engagement of the market also is not built on assumption.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rotimi. Thanks for that. So I wanted to point out something, something so that we can give everyone a chance to say something. So when we're done, you guys can raise your hands and let's hear from you. Now, I'm really looking forward to the Asne Live session. Okay, so what I've been doing on some Fridays, I just have some random live sessions where I talk about Asne and we do a countdown. But I've also seen the power of the few people that I've been hosting on a lot of people's platforms in the past few days. And then I've hosted other people on my platforms. But it's amazing that people are actually still doing business. I think the manager from Sterling Bank, I think he's here. I haven't met him in real life, but he called me over the last week too. So there's a lot that we can be doing from now. Schools are pulling their hair out. I think my phone every day, all I'm doing is talking to people who, and people are still saying the same thing. What can we do? We pay our staff. I had a very emotional meeting with my staff team today. I mean, just like this too. We had a meeting with everyone, plus security guards and drivers and everyone, to let them know what exactly we intend to do for the next few weeks. And things are just really crazy. But then for those of us who can, and we know how, because the truth about it is that most people are ready to damn the consequences of the COVID and continue with their lives and get back to business because they have to eat. So things might actually start finding their way back. And then many of us have probably been sitting on our oars or relaxing. So things may turn around faster than we think. So I love the idea of October ending for us, because schools, by the time schools are resumed in September, as I said, the fees have been paid, people are happier, they're getting more buoyant, and they should be able to be in the frame of mind to also enjoy some of these things. But this May, we will not let this dates waste. So we're going to use that 25th, as I said, do as many, whether we're going to have a full live conference or even the week prior, we can even start with the live sessions all the way, then have something a bit big on different media platforms on the 25th. 26 was meant to be different training sessions going around with different people. So we can decide to do the same thing and have breakout rooms on Zoom or something. And then Wednesday is the student engagement. And so that's something, again, we can do. We can turn it into a challenge instead for young people, for teenagers, secondary school students. So we can rework it. And then anyone who also has ideas and concepts, we hope that we get to hear from you. Let me put our images in a way where I can see everyone's faces, so that if anyone wants to, we want to hear from you. I don't want us to take the time. This is meant to be a dialogue. We want to know what you're thinking, what you've been up to. I don't want to even say too much of the challenges because it's easy for every webinar I see now is the challenges of the challenges of there are challenges. No one needs to tell us that, and I don't need to hear that because we know that, but we know that there are challenges too. But I want to see how you are able to. How have we been able to come out of these? How have we been able to position ourselves in a way that we're getting ready to stand stronger after this exhibition, after this crisis has begun to open up, and we're able to start moving around. If anybody is willing to even move around after this, one thing we know that is that the kind of events, we probably won't be able to have very large events where a lot of people, more than 100 or 200 at a go in one place. So that's going to change a lot of things. That means we're going to be very targeted about how we have people. We're not going to allow anybody just come into our exhibitions. We'll probably be very selective, personal invitations to schools and particular schools. We probably so we're going to be a bit specific. So if you can make it on this day or that day, that's for the physical events, because we have to be also careful now to know how to manage people. Otherwise, we're going to have testing centers outside of the exhibition hall where you have to be tested before you come in. So, we hope things don't get to that level where they turn that crazy. So let me just open up the floor. Want to hear from us, and you could feel free and raise your hand. You know how to do the raise your hand at the thingy bob where your name is. You can raise your hand, or I'd have said you can unmute yourself, but we don't want you unmuting yourself and then somebody else wants to talk. Okay, Mr. Stanley. So you can unmute yourself if that's okay, and you can, right? Yes, you have. Okay, Mr. Stanley. We can hear you, Stanley. Okay, Stanley raised his hand, but his.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
You can hear me now.
Yes, I can. Nice seeing your face for the first time.
Okay, good afternoon. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Once again, MM.
Yes, please tell us your organization. Somebody knows your organization.
Okay, all right. Okay, my name is Jeloe. I'm the manager for.
Ooh.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Better now. I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Do I do the introduction again?
Yes, please, because it went off. Yes, please.
All right. Okay. All right. Like I said, my name is Stanley Obiejelwe.
Okay.
I'm the regional manager for education sector of Sterling Bank in Abuja and the whole of northern Nigeria.
Okay.
I want to say special thanks to for inviting me, and
being here.
Thanks also for the excellent presentation you've made, and the one done by Rotimi.
Yes.
I'll just say a few words. I'm excited about what Asne is doing, and just like collaborate with all the value chain in the education sector to impact, enrich lives, and then contribute to nation building. So for us in Sterling Bank, we're willing to invest in the education sector.
Yes.
Through the various initiatives that we have, which are sharing. We have positions for teachers. We have propositions for owners of schools,
okay,
and then and all of that. Yeah. So we're willing to invest in all of these spaces, and then partner with organizations like yours, MM, so that we can also add and contribute to enriching lives in the education space.
Excellent. Oh, that's really lovely. And I look forward. I enjoyed our conversation, and I know Sterling Bank has also sent some packages that we weren't aware that they were doing so much in education. So we're looking forward to. So we just want to make sure that the word is out there, and then we're also trying to find ways that we can support the public sector, almost more especially. Like I'm doing the TED Talk I'm doing on Saturday. I have a TED Talk, TED Circles, and I'm talking about education without technology. because it's very easy to keep saying, you know, digital technology and e-learning and all that and stuff. But when we have a population, I think we have over 70-something% of our population are in the public education too. And so we must be able to think even more creatively, like totally outside the box. And so want people that can come up with concepts that are able to reach people in that sector too. Yeah, so we'll be talking some more about that. So I just want to hear from as many of us as I can while I'm here. Jesse's hand is up. So let's hear from, thank you, Mr. Stanley. We'll be in touch. And I haven't read the document yet, but I'll read it. So now I'm seeing your face. I'm going to read the document this evening and then we'll be in touch. Thank you. Okay, Jesse, you can unmute yourself.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Opashi. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. A few of you might know me.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Stanley. Okay. Okay.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jesse Asang, and I'm the MD CEO of Codesi Technologies. Now, Codesi is a tech startup in Lagos, and what we do is we create innovative solutions that help meet the needs of living in the 21st century. We have a particular emphasis on business and finance, education, health, and also energy. In terms of education, I want to refer to something that Rotimi said earlier. And what he said was that schools are in need.
Yes.
And I believe that's what Asne is all about, helping schools to bridge their needs. And in a way, that's what Codesi is about too, because we saw a situation that was created due to this COVID-19 pandemic, where a lot of children are not being able to access their academic resources. And what that means is a lot of students are at home now, they are not learning. For those who they're having to use avenues like WhatsApp to learn, and that's not very convenient if you ask me. Yeah. So, Mr. Opashi, you said something earlier that what our technology companies doing. So we've been working very actively to create a learning management system that takes advantage of multimedia technology to create a virtual environment where students can actually access these academic resources and keep learning. So what we want to do as a company is we want to see how we can get this technology to as many schools as possible so that they can resume their academic activities, despite the fact that COVID-19 is keeping students out of school. So basically the philosophy we have is, if you can't take the kids to school, then bring the school to the kids. And that's what our technology does.
Okay, that's really good. And thank you very much, Jesse. Okay, so I have Mahmoud's hand is up. So what it is that I just want to hear from everyone what in what ways also you because you're all going to come and talk to us, you know, behind the scenes after this. You're all going to talk to us about ways that we can start promoting. And our priority, of course, is the companies that have already committed. We have some companies who are like our diehard. Even when we didn't know what we were doing, 1 or 2 years, I mean, the first or second year, they were always there for us. And some of them have been there with us through thick and thin, and they're still here in our 10th year. So those would also, so what we're going to be doing, as we said, we'll be speaking with you and sending you information after this. So let me know some things that you have in place. And if you're interested also in, I mean, what do you think about our idea of having the live sessions or interviewing some of you on our social media platforms in the next few weeks, and what other ways you feel we can promote your businesses also. I have, was that Pastor Remy Morgan is also here. It's really lovely to have so many lovely people here. I really feel honored. So Mahmoud, your hand is up. Let's allow Mahmoud to speak. So you can unmute yourself and go ahead and speak. Thank you. Thank you for the clap, Derek. I saw the clap earlier.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again, Amam, for having me here today.
Welcome.
I think you've been quite a bit of help for us and being a startup that started a company last year. So my name is Mahmoud Umar, CEO and founder of a tech company called Data Tech. And what we started last year was on school communications. And through the Asne program, we were able to launch our application there. And since then, I think Asne has helped us grow to a certain level in our industry, especially in education. And to be honest with you, I think for the last few weeks has been hectic for us because one, as innovators, we had to start changing our design philosophy all at a go, because our school, a lot of schools kept getting back to us that they want this, how can we help them?
Okay.
So, and our technology has always been based on how we can leverage the current social media that is readily available for everybody and use it to enhance education. So what we did right now is our application, we linked it together with mostly the social media interfaces, especially Zoom, YouTube, and a bit of WhatsApp in it. This allows the school to have a centralized place where all communication is, because as Jesse stated earlier, I think a lot of schools get very disorganized when they start using multiple interfaces to communicate with people.
Okay, true. Okay,
So,
see. Yeah.
so what we did is we gave them all in one.
Okay.
So it allows them to set, plan, and do. And so far it's been good. And what we do is we try to take feedback from schools from whatever we implement in the weeks, and we try to keep on changing it, because right now we're also trying to go in partnership with the school again. They're trying to provide copies of books that they've published for SS classes, and they want us to make it available also on our app, whereby anytime they want to send resources to their students, they can have access to it. And they also agreed that we can also share with other schools that we have. So these are the kind of stuff we're working on right now. And I believe we're still innovating, finding new ideas on how we can help schools to improve on what they're doing so far.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mahmood. It's really nice to know that, because why I'm saying we should introduce ourselves, because we have a mix of people here. We have the MD of Laterna Bookstores also. So those are people that do a lot of books, and people are going to be trying to convert, I'm sure, as you said, this is actually a good concept, converting a lot of books to be audible, or to be on what do you call it, on media now, digital media. So that's another thing people can be thinking of as a business opportunity out there. There's a lot of things really happening out there. As I said, some people are cashing in at this time, and some have joined the bandwagon of the and this thing. And what we want to do is that we want to just make sure we're not in despair, as I said. So we've gone through the phases of being in despair, giving up, almost like having a breakdown. And then now we're like, that's why I want us to band together, because what I see is that some of us will probably come together and do some projects so that we can come out even stronger. So it's good to know. We had about, I think, 60 something people actually register or sign up for this session. So I'm recording it so that I could share with other people who are not here at the session. Someone had their hand up before. I've taken it down already. Mr. Paul, do you still want to talk? Paul Maduakor. I probably pronounced that well. Okay. I actually want to hear from the lady here. We have Melissa. How are you, Melissa? Yeah, we've been having all these nice deep voices, so let's hear from.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Hello, Mr. Rotimi. I'm supposed to be hiding from you, actually. Okay, so I'm feeling rather intimidated with all these MDs and CEOs and all. Okay, so I have a company of my own, yes, Daffodils and Pearls Educational.
Okay.
And we're just basically into a lot of STEM activities for schools. Okay. But at the moment, I'm heading a school in Warri, Top Quest International School.
Okay.
And I picked on something that you mentioned that is really a problem to me. Education without technology. I mean, what happens to all those schools that, to all those, let me not just say the schools, the children that don't have access to, technology and all. And I've been having these discussions with other colleagues of mine, and I just feel like we're not ready for all this online learning going on. You can only have like a handful of schools that can afford the online learning. So I would really love to know how we go about working with, children that don't have access. I mean, the IT infrastructure is so poor right now. So I don't know, what do we do? That's just what I really
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm sure we'll speak about that
want
differently.
to know. I have more questions than suggestions,
okay.
than answers.
Okay, are there anything in the chat? Let me see if anyone has typed anything. If you also want, if you type in the chat too, if we can be answering some things in the background. Let me get the chat, check it and see. Oh, they actually are. You see, I didn't even see that. Let me see this. Let me check the chat while I'm talking to. Okay, you want to say anything else, Melissa, so I can note it and then we will talk about that.
No. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Also, so I think as one thing that's very key about this whole era is for everyone to learn to just start from where they are. Technology doesn't mean that we're going all out and buying everybody, like we're not yet buying data tech and codices, implementing them into our schools yet, but something as simple as everybody has some form of technology. Even if it means sending text messages. We were doing text messages in some of the projects we have in Kano. We were doing send text messages for them, things that they can do in the meantime. And even, I mean, we might think things are really bad. We have some public schools. We have 40 schools that we work with in Kano, and we have a WhatsApp group that has been ongoing for like two years. As much as they post a lot of silly forwarded messages, but that means they have data to be posting us those silly messages also. But we use that to follow up on the work that they've been doing. They send us pictures or of the work that they've created from the things that we've trained them on. So everyone can start from where they mean to. And it's not just in Nigeria, it's a global thing. The news and the Sky News yesterday and the whole of this week and last week has been showing the number of people who don't even have access to technology in the UK. It's quite a high number. So we may think we're bad, but then no matter, I mean, the internet is getting overloaded. So everywhere in the world, people are having network challenges, and it's even going to get more so. So we're not hoping to have our kids stare at the screens throughout the day, but we know that we're going to mix it up a bit, just to get people to learn how to learn independently also. So there will come a time when people have to just really think totally out of the box from there. And I know some of us will speak about that a bit more, but let me just give some other people a chance to talk. We have time, but we don't want to take everyone's time. So we have about 20 minutes. I'm just seeing the love. Okay, Olugbenga's hands are up. Olugbenga, thank you. You want to speak? You can unmute yourself and you can speak. I'm just reading the chat, catching up on the chat messages. Thanks, Irene. Okay, I'll do that. Thanks. Olugbenga.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Great. This is Benga from Cambridge. Just wanted to say thanks for the opportunity, and thanks to Asne as well. The great work that has been done over the last many years, and thanks also for being very forward thinking that we should never waste a crisis. So we should still try and do the best we can, even in the current climate. So it's very courageous and bold, and I think it's certainly the right step to take. Mine is just more of a contribution than anything else. That I mean, one of the things I've observed in this period is the whole aspect of systems leadership, where schools are coming together and leveraging resources, and even the technology companies as well, because it looks to me like people are still doing things in silos, and we need to have more joint up thinking and solution. And for example, I have schools in Kenya doing some amazing things free online that I think schools in Nigeria can tap into as well. So going back to Melissa's question on on technology, I do agree. I think even in the UK, we can see that there's a new platform every single day. There's new names I'm hearing, but then there are kids without laptops as well, and families without good internet at home. So we shouldn't lose sight of just being very practical and being very creative. So, I mean, what I look forward to seeing is how some of us can actually work together and create a solution that would help both the private schools and the state school. But let's think about how we can help the whole system get better as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Someone's hand was up. I just saw someone's hand before.
Can I just say something? Let
Yes,
me just
please.
say something.
Yes, please. I've been.
Okay, so I'm excited that this kind of conversation is actually being raised on the platform. We need to understand that, number one, we must be mindful of our numbers, and our numbers are actually something that should also justify why we must not shut Asne down, because we need to think in numbers so we'll see the realities on ground. So Melissa's question, I'm sure, is coming from the perspective of thinking about things from like, look at the we-centric side of it. And just like Benga also mentioned, we need to understand one of our biggest problem, which should be part of the things we are tackling, because it seems like the fuss is about schools as in the unit of the school. And the problem really is not the schools. Schools are just formalized setups that follows the system of education.
Yeah.
So number one, we have a very, very, very bad culture, because predominantly what makes us, how do you put it now? What makes us to have a challenge where some people celebrate their prowess or mastery to be able to have a hang on getting to online learning, it's actually going to be most likely a downfall if nothing is done about it. Number one, why? Because if you notice, it's almost like we're running a capitalist system in education as well. And someone's saying that I need to, is my audio bad?
No, I've told from
Okay.
your phone or laptop. Okay, yeah. No, it's Paul. I think we're sending it to Paul. Paul said he can't hear us, so we've just sent him a message.
Okay. All right. So, like I was saying, number one, we realize that a lot of people are celebrating mastery and discovery of tools. So people are celebrating mastery of WhatsApp, mastery of Zoom, mastery of Seesaw, and the likes. But then to the detriment of the fact that the context of education is actually always local. It's not always global. The concept is global, but the context of it is local. So we need people in this group, and the tech CEOs in the group, and people like Benga as well, to actually understand this is the best time to alter education in Nigeria and Africa. This is the best time to press a reset button. Why? Because it's a concept that can be toyed with. Because if we now look at the adoption of technology or the adoption of a collective migration to e-learning, and when we say e-learning, not just teaching lessons, but getting schools to be online, one of the challenge we'll find out is that because education is heavily politicized, you might not be able, to get people going all out to say, okay, no, let's be selfless, let's empower our youth. So just like the way the private sector has been able to champion the space of moving on with public education, we need to begin to come to that point where we tell the government or we tell regulators what is required for those who are championing the space. And those who are championing the space from the collective point of view should also see how can we reset the system of education as opposed to just schools, because like everybody's talking about schools.
Okay, so the system is actually the opportunity. Thank you. The system. Okay, Okoyami Odukale's hand is up. Let's hear from you, Okoyami. Thank you for all the side comments. Sorry, anyone that has the time, also check the comments. Some really good interactions going on in the comment section too. All right. Okay, Okoyami, let's hear from you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm Okwe Odukale, head of Sales School Kids Limited. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Already hearing Mahmoud Umar speak, I'm excited about the opportunities we can, achieve together. So just like Mr. Rotimi just mentioned, I have toddlers in my house, and I'm wondering how education will help them write. So post-COVID, I'm wondering how my son will still learn to write without having resources in my house. So we have been thinking as a business on how, just like he said, this is the best time to disrupt learning in Nigeria. And so I'm looking forward to working with Mr. Mahmoud. Of course, I'm also looking forward to working with we've been working before now, Mr. Morgan. We've been working before now, so we're looking forward to do some things together. I know that children will still need learning resources. So that I'm sure of.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
That's really good. Thank you so much. Mr. Ahmad. Mr. Ahmad has been very gracious. We've done some stuff already in the week. So let's hear from you, Mr. Ahmad.
Hi.
Hi, Ahmad.
I have a crying baby by me, so I'm going to be really fast.
We don't mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been listening, and nice to meet you all. Okay, so I'm from a company called Streamledge Limited. So what we do at Streamledge is we partner with schools, and they kind of outsource their computing department to us, and we come in with a modern curriculum and basically mentor students to become the inventors of the technology, whilst we bring in other STEM activities as well. And then we build other products for education, including the online classroom that we've set up for several schools right now. Our student count is over 4,000 that we mentor per week. And our online classroom is quite popular right now, especially in Kano. So we're helping the schools really more like trying to teach them how to use it, and trying to get the parent side, because that's our major challenge.
Okay.
Schools want it, they install it, but the problem is really from the parent side. So we're working in forums with the parents here to really get them to embrace it. And then we're digitizing content for schools. So what we realized, a lot of schools don't really want generic content for topics, because that wouldn't make the parents want to pay for tuition for next term. So we're working with them to see how we kind of digitize their own content so that the schools will resume to term. They still get to collect tuition, even if it's not all of it, so that they run. So we're setting up a lot of cameras and all that to the schools.
Okay.
So our ways are it's a bit manual, but what we realize is the manual process really needs to be in place, not the fully digital. That's why just saying to a classroom Zoom probably might not work.
Okay.
Yeah, so on and so forth.
Thank you.
So we've enjoyed working with you as well, and we look forward to working together furthermore. And I'm missing everything.
So let me mute anybody who just came up. So I didn't hear that last part you said. Okay. Anyone who has just joined us, if you just joined us and you're not, please do so. Okay, Ahmed, sorry, the last thing you said, I didn't hear that last part.
Okay, what I said was I just look forward. Okay, I said I have a colleague as well in the room, so we're noting everything, and we'll reach out to people, and we'll see how we can take this further. And then to add on the Asne Live, I think it's essential, it has to be done.
Yes.
Because if you say you are just going to push an event completely to a date, are you sure of that date that the world is going to be back to normal by then?
Yeah.
And then we boost up in the technology companies, we boost up in the creatives. So we really need to lead the way and show people that it's just how things are done that has changed slightly, not that things won't be done. So
Yeah.
everything would go on just that in a different way. So we need to think of it. So I'm very up for the Asne Live, and if I think through it again and I come up with some ideas, I'm definitely going to send you a mail.
Excellent.
Just bounce it off you. Yes, and then whenever we can, the physical event at a regulated environment, that will be fantastic as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, so we're looking forward to just making a lot of noise and encouraging ourselves, so that we're not giving up, as I said. So that's the purpose of this. Some of you have already identified, people that you can work with and do business with. And we have Aderugba, are you going to say something? I have. Okay, someone's
okay.
Yes. I guess Angela Adamus. I'm coming before I call Aderugba. Angela, you want to say something? I didn't even know you were here. We have Angela. I'm assuming all the way from the Ukraine. Here, I didn't know she was here. Yes.
Yeah, in Kiev.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey, so
Hi.
okay, yourself.
Hi. So I'm Dr. Angela Adamu. I'm the, I don't know what to say, the CEO and editor of InStep Teacher Training magazine. And InStep is basically a way to encourage professional development that deals with the problem of sustainability. Because that's one of the challenges in Nigeria. The main challenge, not just in education, but in other sectors as well. And this is something that even international organizations have identified is we have a problem. Yes, we need to encourage change, or let's say adopt change. We need to update our teaching pedagogy, our learning standards, our teaching standards, but we have a problem of how to do it.
Okay, went off briefly. Let me see. Okay, went off briefly, Angela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So basically, InStep, looked for a way to do that. So what we did is we created InStep, InStep Teacher Training Magazine. InStep Teacher Training Magazine is a train the trainer, but you can also use it to train yourself. And so the idea is that in each edition, we give 10 teacher training workshops, but it walks the trainers.
Okay. It's gone off again.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Hi, can you still?
Yes, I can.
Okay, it keeps going off. Anyway, so that's the premise of InStep. And InStep, incidentally, our third edition was incorporating technology into everyday teaching.
Oh.
And it's supposed to be 10 teacher training workshops. So I was in Nigeria for 6 weeks and came back just before the lockdown.
Okay.
And I'm really glad that you have this conversation going, because one of the things that I found is that, there is not much collaboration going on between education.
Your internet has gone off again. Okay, now this is interesting for me because she is in the Ukraine, Kiev, not Nigeria. You know how you're all dissing Nigeria and saying the network is bad? So this woman here is in Kiev.
I know, so yeah, that's why I'm wondering what's going on.
What's going on? Okay, go on.
Okay, so so I was in Nigeria for 6 weeks, and one of the things that I found was that it was really, really hard to get a finger on, who's doing what. And there wasn't a sense of coherent collaboration among service providers. And even, I have to say, I was really disappointed with the reaction that I even got from NAPS.
Yeah.
So I found that, okay, here's the problem. We all know that education sector, has a lot of challenges. I actually went to the ministry, I talked to ministry people, and they agreed, but then how to get the different groups working together for the same purpose.
Yes.
There's more a sense of, I don't know, I don't want to call it mistrust.
Let me see where she is. Gone off totally. Okay, she's gone off totally here. Okay, so we can just give space for maybe 1 or 2 more people to speak, and then we would just do like a recap. And most of you have our numbers.
Can you hear me?
Oh, good. There you are again. I was just going to say, yeah, there you are. Okay. So go on. You were saying, yeah, mistrust and. Okay. Okay, it's gone off again. Okay, let me give someone else a chance to talk. Okay, there's a man in where it says Bosse Obende. There's someone there. So are you going to speak on, are you ready to speak here? with the hand up? Okay, so you can speak here, okay. Okay, so please go ahead. Please introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Yeah, good day, everybody.
Yes, sir.
This is Francis, joining you guys from Lagos.
Okay.
The company is Added Limited.
Sorry?
The company is Added Limited.
Okay.
Now we support schools and the education system.
Okay.
These days, effective education should be interactive. They should be interactive. It's unlike in the traditional setup where education is one way, where it only comes from.
Sorry, I've just muted you, Mr. Added Limited. Can you tell us a bit more what your company does first? I'm meeting you for the first time. Yes, sir. Tell us about what services your company gives.
Right. We support schools. We have systems that support effective delivery of ideas.
Okay.
Effective interaction within a classroom.
Okay.
Now, both physical and online.
All right. Okay.
Now, that involves audiovisual equipment. That involves students' response system. It involves video collaboration like this.
Yeah.
Ours is called Collaborate Space. Ours is called Collaborate Space, where you can have your webinar or you teach in a classroom.
Okay.
Now, you can add that to students' response system, where the students can join in your class from any device, from anywhere. In most cases, some of them, you don't even need internet, because we know that is a key feature here. That is a major hindrance for people to join effectively in an online collaboration.
Okay.
Some of our products, we don't even need internet.
Oh, good. Okay.
Now, and in a basic classroom setup, visual is key. In most cases, you remember 4 times what you see than what you hear. So we enhance all those systems in the classroom.
Okay. And so that's excellent. And thank you very much, added added value. I'm going to be calling you added value. So thank you. At least I'm seeing you for the first time. And yes, we're looking forward to having you as part of this year's exhibition. Mr. Michael's hand has been up for some time. Michael Musa. So I'm going to give Michael the chance, and I'm going to go back to Rotimi, and then we would take it after you, then maybe Derwa, and then Rotimi. Hi, Michael, how are you?
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if am I clear? Can you hear me?
Very clear. Like you probably have a mic because it's really clear, like the clearest person so far.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, my name is Michael Musa. I'm the head of e-learning from FlexiStaff.
Okay.
FlexiStaff is a software company that provides technology solutions for education, specifically for education.
Okay.
And we have over 500 schools around the country. I think this current COVID-19 situation has actually thrown schools into a very, should I say, difficult situation. Not just schools, parents, kids.
Yes.
It's all put everyone in a difficult situation. Why? Because everyone has to be at home. So I think this is a great time for solution providers, educationists, parents, students, everyone all together to come together with, should I say, not just solutions, because we always have this mindset that you just bring a technology solution and it solves everything.
Yeah.
But it has a lot more to do with people agreeing to use technology, and then should I say what's out there available to get things working in a different way. So we've been very busy, should I say, getting schools back to work. We've sorted out a couple of quite a number of schools lately within the last 2 weeks. And we have a platform, e-learning at texastaff.com, that allows the school to, should I say, self-enroll. Yes. Depending on what their requirements are, what they need to put, what they need to get the kids back to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen some of your videos. You have this nice Jantu or something, some video you sent.
Django. I actually led the team that built all those videos.
Okay.
And it's still ongoing work.
Yeah.
It's targeted at kids in primary school.
Primary. All right.
And it's built based on the NERDC curriculum.
Okay, that's excellent. They're really quite nice. They're really quite a good. I mean, they were quite colorful and engaging. So I like that. Well done, FlexiSaff. Thank you, Mr. Michael. Thank you very much. Yes, I was just going to have, I think, one more person that I'm handing back over to Rotimi. No more hands up here. But I just want to acknowledge. Let me try and acknowledge everyone here that their faces, everyone who has spoken, and those who are hiding their faces also. Adara, I wanted you to speak because I've been dragging you into this whole conversation all this time. So you can speak, then Rotimi would round it up, yeah?
Okay. So, hello, everyone. Yeah, so my name is Otunwa Adoroba. I'm an IT consultant. I run my own company anyways, and I'm also a community lead for Google under the Google Business Group. Actually, one of the most active chapters on the planet. So basically, what I see, maybe I'll just give my own view. I think there has been a disruption. I think there has actually been an evolution. And I also think either your business model, so many things will change, so many things have changed, and business wouldn't go the same way. So 2 months ago, I'll just give a small scenario. So I'm in Abuja currently. So I was at National Mosque, and we had this association of model Islamic schools. I'm a Christian anyway, so we had about 600 of them. So, but in the space of a week, we currently have about over 1,000 that wants to just onboard G-Suite for education, and that's to let you know that something has changed, and schools that were not embracing technology now suddenly, they need it. So, and more like last week also, the current president of NAPS, Mrs. Olushola Bankole, so she sent me an email in Abuja, and she actually said, okay, what can we do for some of the schools that can do this? For me, I already know parents that have lost jobs, school fees, things have to go in installments, and there's going to be so many things. Of course, tech companies, what I personally think is you have to evolve, you have to tweak your business model. The way you used to make money will change, because there's a rule in disruptive strategy that money does not leave the environment. It just moves from A to B. So you just have to understand what value you're delivering, what it's moving to. So I'll be happy to contribute. I've been working with Mrs. Opashi for some years now, and I believe the Asne Live should come up, because this is the time you need to test if that works. Not like you'll be expecting there'll be time everything will become normal. Looking at the number of deaths and everything, things have evolved. So I think this is the time to push technology. Looking at the internet penetration rates, kids, some of them even use more device, like more technology than their parents. So I think it's a way whereby you just have to adopt some of these things, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you, and happy to meet everyone. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been lovely. Let me see if I can acknowledge every possible. Some of you, okay, thank God everyone has their name. Thank you so much, Jesse and Derek and Melissa. Thank you for your lovely comments. Mahmoud, thank you for being here. Pastor Remy, I'd love to hear your voice since you're here, just to have you here. Can I just hear your voice, and then before I round up, let Turner himself. Now I want all the books in them. How are you, sir? Okay, let me unmute you. Sorry, let me unmute you. Ooh, let me unmute. Oh, yes, it's on mute. Yes, sir.
Myself. Yep. Okay. Well, this is a great initiative. It's been really interesting listening to everyone. I've had to flit in and out of the meeting because I have other calls coming from all manner of folks. A very, very engaging conversation. It's a severe disruption, and we have no choice but to try and appreciate. In addition to running Latino Ventures, we're like probably about 25 years old. Always been right to the set, bringing in religious books, business titles, a lot of children's books. We've seen areas, certain sectors plateauing, but we have seen over the last few years an increase in children's books, particularly fiction and some non-fiction, some inspirational material as well. And, things have been looking up, and we're hoping that things will just get better. We'd encourage a lot of our retailers to even take on things like the book reading clubs and things like that. And we've seen positive response, but with all of this now and social distancing and all of that, I don't know. But we're practicing everything. And I'm telling my guys, also in church, I'm also a pastor, that you've got to take advantage of the lockdown. I put a message yesterday navigating the lockdown, and I said, hey, lockdowns, exist. Some lockdowns you find yourself in prison, some lockdowns you find yourself in hospital, some lockdowns you can find yourself in the asylum. That's not what we have. So what are you going to do? How are you going to make the most of it? And I looked at Exodus chapter 12. Apologies to non-Christians here. I looked at Exodus chapter 12, and I said the children of Israel were locked down for the night of Passover, but they were not idle. Lamb, keep it for 4 days. They had to develop an intimacy with the lamb. They had to prepare the lamb. They had to unleaven bread. The bitter herbs, and they were asked to eat on their feet. Loins guard, your staff in your hands, your shoes, and you had to go out. So I'm saying, post-COVID, no doubt, significant change. Look at the price of oil. All manner of things out there.
Yeah.
Got to just prepare. Whatever it is, wherever you are in your closet, fortunately, you're not in prison. You're not in the asylum. You're not in hospital. So you're in a better place than most. You really, really have to just challenge yourself and figure out, how you're going to navigate post-COVID. So this has been interesting. I loved the conversations and, the sharings about digitalization of material. We've been talking to some of our suppliers, but we've not been able to, get that, in the right direction. Hopefully, at these times, they'll listen to us a little bit more closely, because everything is changing. All models are changing. And a lot of us need to really reset button, I think, reset, and figure out, hey, how is it going to work, going forward? I like what Mr. Adirogba said. He says, when disruption occurs, the money doesn't leave. It just,
I'm telling you,
it just relocates. It's going to happen, sir. But this is great. I love this. It would be good if we can have conversations. So many firsts. I've never been an e-banking person, but I have had no choice but to, engage my bankers, put that in place. I've had e-naming ceremony, had e-wedding anniversary, 25th celebration, guys in South Africa, all over the place.
Wow.
And that's just indicative of that's inevitable. So we must and make necessary adaptations and prepare ourselves for the post-COVID season. Yeah?
Thank you so much.
And always great to talk to you. I love we were working, getting ready to hit Abuja.
Honestly, we're still waiting.
Let's see what happens.
Yes, sir. Sorry, just to ask, so are you doing delivery books to people? People ordering to deliver to their houses? Are you doing that?
But the whole logistics thing is a challenge. Someone was saying this, we should let government know that we're essential service. Knowledge is still important at this time.
Yes.
So I said, okay, maybe I'll have to government and see whether we'll be granted a concession to be able to do this, But then they start coming to the office, social distancing. When they show up, they will show up with their gloves. Yeah. But we'll see.
Very true. I'm sure bit by bit things will begin to unfold. Yes, also because we have. we're ordering books randomly while I'm here, so that's fine. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand over back to you just to say. Let me just, as I said, I'm trying to. I'm sending like some sort of e-hugs, or we can't even shake hands when we see ourselves for a long time. My goodness. We're all going to be doing maybe a Wakanda greeting or something. So thank you, Adirogba, Francis, Paul, Melissa, Bossa, and I know your name is not Bossa because the two Bossas. Angela, great to hear from you. I'm going to speak to you after Wenga. Wenga is right around the corner somewhere, but far away also. Thank you, Dire. We didn't hear your voice, but that's fine. Ahmed, always excellent to have your support. Eno, thank you for being here. Mr. Stanley, seeing you somehow in real life, but I'm seeing your picture, so that's nice. Ugonna, thank you. We had a good conversation already today. Timothy, Michael, great to hear from you. We'll probably be in touch some more. and Salihu Adiola, Timothy, Oye, and Okoye, I may have heard from you already, and Sandra, the Asne Madam is here, hiding somewhere. Nene Darl Uzu, that sounds like my cousin's name, but since she hasn't shown her face, I'm not sure if it's her, because if it's her, I'm going to be really excited, and I didn't know she was going to be here. And Francis Egwekwe for being here. We didn't hear from you. So let me hand over back to Rotimi. I've loved the interaction. I feel so charged up again. So even I have been very encouraged, as I said. So as we've had very almost what do you call it, the kind of mood swings where we have Rotimi and I, sometimes we talk and we argue, and then I'll call him and he will call me at odd hours, and I'm like, what are you talking about? We can't do this, you know. So that's really good. Oh, Mr. Stanley, good. You're showing your your face. All right, Rotimi, back to you. Over to you. You to unmute yourself. Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much, and I would like to thank everyone that has joined this session for the resource in the room. It's been a great conversation back and forth. I'd just like to remind us that some of the things that we're trying to champion and we're trying to ensure it happens is actually up to us to make it happen. Because for the kind of society that we are in, and then of course the kind of regulators that we have, if we don't model this to them, it would almost become impossible, because some of the people that are in the helm of affairs are not necessarily as visionary as we expect them to be for different reasons. But we must first and foremost, as a takeaway, begin to model this. So we need more momentum. The Aderogbas of this world, Remy Morgans of this world, we need everyone to begin to model the dynamics that we've been trying to say, and then also realize that when it comes to the concept of education, and I like to always say this to make people understand the fact that education is not school. School is a subset of education. In fact, school sector is actually a subset of education, and the schools that we're talking about are in the school sector. And so all the things that we've been having as worries and concerns about the schooling system, about the learning system, actually it's a question of how many enablers will enable the school system. So the period of COVID-19 is actually a period of emergence for school enablers, learning enablers, knowledge transfer enablers, because what makes an industry thrive is the presence of enablers and amplifiers. And I'm sure as we begin to do that, we'll begin to ensure that this transition and migration for school digitization, or the migration to e-learning, it becomes a smooth success, that people will not just focus on the tools alone, but people will focus on the entire overhaul in itself. So we are not just celebrating masteries of tools any longer, but we are now seeing it. And this is an opportunity that can start from Asne Life to the point where we now have the final engagement. So please, I just want to encourage us, for those of us in the tech space, those of us in the learning space, those of us in the publish and content industry, we need to realize that we are the ones that will enable the system to work. And as we enable it, those of us that are in the media and all that, we also amplify the work. And this reset that we're trying to talk about actually can be the consequence of all that we do between now and the period of normalcy. So thank you so much for the time.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It's been beautifully spent 1 hour, 17 minutes. You've all been wonderful. I'm really excited. I'm very charged up. So I'm sure Rotimi and I will probably have a lot of meetings. You all have our direct contact numbers. You have the office number, and then some of you have my personal number already. So please feel free. I've dropped ideas. Let's see how to make some noise. So because what we're doing was we're encouraging ourselves. I know some people have actually gotten discouraged. They said, I've had meetings today. I've also had to facilitate some of my school clients' meetings to talk to their own staff. And I don't know why I'm even in their own meetings to talk to their own staff when they, and also I'm doing a lot of different things, and it's quite an overwhelming time for a lot of people. But I just feel that we can overcome, we can fight it, we can come out even stronger. We will shock ourselves and do better than we even imagined, So I want us to just work together as much as possible. I'm really grateful to so many people. I checked the list of those who had signed up, but some people probably just signed up now because I didn't see those names earlier. So I really appreciate you for taking out your time in the midst of the thousands of webinars and things that are ongoing. There's so many things happening in the online space now. You took out time to be here. Thank you very, very, very much. I will somehow or the other send the recording to us. I've done a recording, so I'll get the recording sent to us, and I would, yes, we'll keep in touch. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Have a lovely rest of the week, and let's, okay, I've seen someone's hand appear. Everybody's clapping, and Mahmoud is giving us a thumbs up. Thank you very much. That's the beauty of these technology. Thank you. So we've done, yes, we'll stop right now. Thanks, Jesse. Thank you very much. All right, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, Melissa. The lady that spoke here, and Angela. We'll keep in touch. Make sure you send me a message so we can talk some more, okay? All right. Bye, everyone.